Kyle Busch gets win number 3, tying him with Joe Gibbs Racing, who also has 3 wins. We got Austin Dillon versus Austin Cindric, and we got Corey LaJoie versus Carson Hocevar. Let's talk about it. Coming up next. What's going on, everybody? Hope you're doing good today. All right, Kyle Busch, it took him 5 restarts in the last 40 laps, but he gets it done. He holds off Kyle Larson. He holds off Denny Hamlin. He holds off a whole host of guys. He had to do it 5 times. Very, very impressive to nail the restart that many times. In fact, passing Kyle Larson. It looks like Kyle Larson's 2-tire strategy to get him up front finally gave up on him on that last restart. He faded back to 4th, but we will get to that in just a minute. But like I said, win number 3 for Kyle Busch. Looks like RCR going on a gamble to pick up Kyle Busch, and Kyle Busch equally taking a gamble going to RCR is paying off for Chevrolet, and definitely paying off for RCR. He looks like one of the championship favorites. Go ahead and pencil him into your Final 4 along with the other Kyle, and I think Ryan Blaney is going to be sort of your sleeper pick along with William Byron. That would be my Final 4 pick right now, but unfortunately, once again, as big as this story is, there was another story that sort of took place here. Let's go ahead and get into Austin on Austin. So you see this angle here. This angle here is not really the greatest because it's like the wreck is already happening. But then if you go to this view right here, and if you look at Austin Dillon's car first, I'm going to play it twice. Look at Austin Dillon's car first. You see that it looks like Austin Dillon comes up. But if you pay attention to Austin Cindric's car on this second one, you can see that Austin Cindric clearly comes down after Austin Dillon comes up. And to make it even more, like somebody actually got an angle from the opposite side of this, but they got it with still photographs. But if you look at these still photographs, you can see how far down Austin Cindric moves. And because that move is late, you can look at it one of 2 ways. The first way you can look at it is the way that Austin Dillon looks at it, and I'll play that clip right now.
The end of the day for Austin Dillon, what happened with the contact with Cindric?
I was wrecked intentionally by him, hooked right, just like Chase and Denny and Bubba's deal. He better be suspended next week.
All right, thank you.
Now, I don't know what happened preceding these laps. I don't know if they got into it with each other before these laps. You would need that for the context of, did Austin Cindric wreck me on purpose? But if you're the Austin Cindric camp, you can look at it like, hey, I came down, I was trying to protect my position, I was trying to protect my spot, but I came down late. Now, this is going to be a deal where NASCAR has to look at it and make a judgment call. Because NASCAR has now gotten into the business of making judgment calls. So they're going to have to go, I guess, plug in the computer to the SMT box because the SMT data, Wi-Fi version of it at least went down. I don't know if they can pull it from the SMT box on the car or not. But if they can, they need to go ahead and do that and look at all the data, match it up with the scoring loops and all that good stuff, and see exactly what happened with this particular incident. But they're going to have to make a judgment call. They're going to have to make that judgment call. Was Austin Cindric trying to protect his groove? Or did Austin Cindric intentionally wreck Austin Dillon? That's going to be up to them. I can't judge intent, right? All I can say is that Austin Dillon moved up first, Austin Cindric moved down second, and it is a right rear hook. Via the precedent that NASCAR has, a right rear hook does get you a 1-race suspension if it's on purpose. NASCAR is going to have to judge whether or not that's on purpose. I'm an RCR man. I like Austin Dillon, so I am far from unbiased in this. But me personally, it looks intentional from the photographic angle that you got, and when you see Austin Dillon move up first, and there's almost a half second before Austin Cindric moves down on him, looks intentional to me. But I can see the other side of the argument just as equally. Like I said, biased homer, so I would throw that out there. All right, let's get on to the Corey LaJoie Carson Hocevar deal.
Just couldn't quite get over the hump of track position. Yeah, it's just a tough day, man. It's it's a tough situation to jump in, and these guys are pros, and their stuff runs good, wins races, and it wasn't good enough this weekend. I would like to think that I could drive a better race car. I would like to think that I can drive a race car better than I displayed this weekend, but I wouldn't say it's embarrassing, but I got some work to do just to figure out, what feel I need to extract some more speed. It's just it's a frustrating weekend, but I just really appreciate the opportunity. It's been a dream come true. Even as much as I didn't do this guy's a good job. I wish those guys luck for the rest of the year once Chase gets back, and they'll be winning some races, and I'll be giving that 7-car hell every week.
So you see those comments from Corey LaJoie, and he's taking all the blame on himself. But that's just surface level stuff. If you look sort of beneath the surface level of this particular deal, Hendrick did not show up to this racetrack with a lot of speed. In fact, only William Byron qualified well. He was back there with Kyle Larson for most of the race, and Kyle Larson was able to improve his car. But in Corey LaJoie's defense here, and I'm going to defend Corey LaJoie because I think he's a good race car driver, he does not have the rapport with Alan Gustafson that Kyle Larson has with Clint Daniels. So if you don't have that rapport, it is really hard for a substitute driver to make the adjustments that Kyle Larson and his crew chief made there, because you just don't have that communication set up. So he was almost doomed from the start here, but he made the most of it. He got a 21st finish, so he made the most of it. But that being said, it probably wouldn't be as big a deal as it is now, except for the fact that Carson Hocevar, in his car that he normally runs, that number 7 car for Spire, he was up there running 16th, and according to his own team, he was using the brakes a little heavier than just about anybody out there on the track. But I'm not going to take that away from him because he's never sat in one of these cars before. And that being said, even his own team said, yes, he was using the brakes heavier than anybody else, but we didn't think it was going to be a problem. And then, of course, the brake rotor exploded. He was one of many where the brake rotor exploded. So that's not on him, but he showed what he can do. And the problem is people are comparing these two drivers. Comparison is the thief of joy, of course. So whenever you compare two drivers, one has to come out on the short end. But if you take two drivers and just separate them, like who cares that they were driving, or Carson was driving his equipment or whatever like that. Can't we just celebrate that Carson Hocevar had a good debut in NASCAR before his car failed? And can't we celebrate that Corey LaJoie, even though the team he showed up to drive for, even though they're normally a championship caliber team, was off today, and Corey LaJoie still managed to get a 21st finish out of it? I think that's a fair way to look at it. We know Corey LaJoie is a good race car driver because when he got to Spire wasn't as good as they are now. And yes, Carson Hocevar was running 16th in that car, but Corey LaJoie has also had some top 10s in that car as well. So every once in a while, we know that Spire shows up to the racetrack with a good setup. So all the Corey LaJoie hate, all the memes and all the Corey LaJoie, all of a sudden we got to take shots at Corey LaJoie. I think it's kind of uncalled for, but it is what it is. I think they're both going to be good drivers, and at the end of the day, people just need something to be mean about on the internet. So this week, I guess it's going to be we're going to make fun of Corey LaJoie, even though Hendrick showed up with a poor setup, and that's my take on that. All right, let's wrap this thing up. Good race for Kyle Busch. Denny Hamlin is second. Joey Logano third. Both of those drivers are starting to heat up here toward the end, toward the middle of the season. Kyle Larson is fourth, continues his streak of good runs as long as he finishes. Hopefully he can get some more finishes. Martin Truex Jr. having a sneaky good season. He finishes fifth. Ryan Blaney, another one, having a sneaky good season. Daniel Suarez, he needed this momentum. He's run good recently, but he has not had the finishes to show for it. He's kind of been on a heater ever since the All-Star break. William Byron continues his good season. Michael McDowell jumps up in there. He needed a good finish. Kevin Harvick, another good finish. And Christopher Bell, sort of out of nowhere, he was wrecked at one point also by Austin Cindric, coincidentally. Finishes 11th, so that is your good race. And, of course, if you look down here at the bottom, Carson Hocevar, bad race. Tyler Reddick, bad race. Chase Briscoe, bad race. Noah Gragson, bad race. Three of the four there had sort of brake caliper issues. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. had a good run going as well before he was taken out on that Austin wreck. And it's getting that time in the season, so we'll start looking at regular season points again. Ryan Blaney leading your regular season points right now. William Byron is right behind him. Kevin Harvick, Martin Truex Jr., Ross Chastain, Christopher Bell, Kyle Busch, Denny Hamlin, Kyle Larson, Tyler Reddick, Brad Keselowski, Joey Logano, Chris Buescher, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Bubba Wallace, and Daniel Suarez are your 16 that would be in the playoffs right now. As of right now, the two on the outside looking in, or the three, would be Alex Bowman, Ty Gibbs, and Austin Cindric. Those are your first three out. Michael McDowell, Corey LaJoie, rounding out your first five out. All right, that is all I got for you on this one. Of course, the big controversy on this one is going to be, should Cindric be suspended? I know a lot of Chase Elliott fans are like, hey, I know a lot of Bubba Wallace fans too are like, hey, he right-hooked him, he should be suspended. Actions hypocritical if NASCAR doesn't. Speaking of actions hypocritical, if you want to buy this t-shirt, the link is down in the description. If you made it this far in the show, feel free to subscribe down below. All your subscriptions mean a lot to this channel. If you got a question, comment, or anything like that, leave it down in the comment section. I try to get to as many of them as I can. Haven't been doing good recently, but I'll try to get back on track with that. And that's all I got for you on this one. Thanks for your time. Peace.